and that's a little bit harder. You know, if you don't know what you're doing, if I'm going to make hamburgers as a living, and I don't have any feedback from the people who I'm selling to, you know, maybe I'm going to make a hamburger that big, or maybe I'm going to make a hamburger that big. You know, if no one tells me what I need to do, how can I do it properly, right? And the problem we have with shrimp is that they really don't tell us what they want to do. It's all post-responsive. If you look at the things that, you know, have occurred in fish, you know, we got lots of different techniques and lots of different technologies. The salmon industry has some incredible things that they do, but they have an ability to actually visualize, right? You know, the fish are coming up to the surface, they're working in clear water systems, so they can have cameras, they can have sonars, they can have lots of different ways where in real time they can measure things. The reality is, you know, in the modern salmon industry, you know, there's nobody there. This guy's sitting in an office somewhere with his feet kicked up, drinking coffee, watching a bunch of video monitors. He's controlling everything electronically. There's nobody out there. It's all electronic. They're using visual systems. They're using sonar systems to manage the fish, the size of the fish. I mean, they even have lasers now that will shoot parasites off fish. It's pretty amazing. If you look at, you know, think about, you know, fish. We saw a great video. Let me turn those down. You know, that's pretty easy to figure out that those fish are consuming, you know, that they're hungry, right? With fish, we see exactly what's going on. We can see the response. We can measure the response. You know, floating feed is a good management tool because we have, you know, feedback right there and then. It's not post-responsive. You know, if you look at what happens in a fish pond or a shrimp pond, you know, I don't see any shrimp coming up to eat that feed. I mean, that's, you know, I got a bird. You know, this happened to be a pond that we had that was clear, so we decided to drop a GoCam in it, threw some feed in there and drop it in there just to see the shrimp coming and grabbing that food. But you can't, you know, shrimp ponds are not clear. You know, this was an anomaly. It just happened to be very clear. So you see them all come in and get that feed. You know, if you look at shrimp and how they consume feed, they're really messy eaters. They go up there and they grab that feed. They grab 5 or 6 pellets and then they drop them and they'll pick up a couple more pellets, right? You know, they're externally masticating that feed. You can even see that feed coming up through the shrimp. It can go, you can see it go right through there. They're actually very interesting animals from nutrition and processing. But they're very messy eaters, right? We don't want that feed sitting there for an hour losing its quality. We want to be able to deliver that feed to them. And so, you know, there's some interesting data out there. This was one of the only studies, or one of the few studies out there that I know of that actually looked at feed management. This was out of Asia, looking at automatic feeders, and they got very good results. Well, we happened to be tied up and met some of these guys when they actually were starting to do the recordings for the AQ1 system. They came to our facility, and you know, we saw what they did and we heard what went on in the industry, and so I decided we needed to start looking at the automatic feeding systems at our facility to see what they would do. And so we brought in the AQ1 system, and let me see if I can get this to run. Let's see, I got to get the mouse over. There we go. There we go. Oh, it is running. All right, let me get the volume up. Okay, is that coming out? Oh, we forgot to plug in. Okay, hang on. Technical difficulties. Well, why did... You could hear... Can you hear that? Is it coming through there? Okay. It's going through the HDMI. It actually... Okay. We fought with it for about a half an hour this morning. Now it's working. So, okay. So let me hit that. Let me see if I can make that run again. All right. So what I want you to listen to... Get it to go. All right. So what you'll hear is the background noise. And then you're going to hear this. That's somebody throwing feed into the water. Ah, come on. Well, let me go back. Can you hear that? And you hear that noise go up? All right. Ah! Hang on. Unfortunately, I think I got one of my slide got hidden. Do. All right. This was my top secret slide, sorry. All right. So, okay, now what are we doing? Thank you. All right. So, I've used this demonstration to try and explain how this works, and we'll see if you guys are smart enough to do this. I have bad examples. All right? So I got candy. So the way this works is the AQ1 basically takes and does a test. Okay? It'll throw a little bit of food. So you guys got to keep your heads up. And it's going to listen then for a response. And so the question is, are you guys smart enough to figure out how to get more candy? How do you get more candy? Can you guys clap? Yes? No? So if I... there. Up to Ramesh in the back. Is back there. Oh. Okay, so there you go. See? So you guys want... You got to clap. All right? If you can clap... Oh. Okay, this is dangerous, so be careful. No, you guys aren't clapping. You don't get anything. No. Laughing doesn't count. You have to clap. You have to clap. Okay, so you make noise, you get fed. It's simple. Okay, you guys. Hey, there you go. He's gonna clap. Oh, ladies back here clapping. All right. She caught two at the same time. Sean. Okay, here. This will make for good photography. Ready? And at the camera, okay. Who didn't get candy? Okay, you guys got to pick up the candy. The real example of this would be when you open it up that you hear the noise. Okay, that's really the example. So the last group I talked to, I've done this, I don't know how many places. They wouldn't clap. You guys, I don't understand. You don't like my candy? I mean, I even brought good candy. Anyways, so it's a pretty interesting system. Is it just like I did? You know, it takes and throws out a little bit of food. See, he didn't clap, so he's not hungry. So we don't give him any more. Oh, there you go. There. He's the boss. So it throws a little bit of food. And then it listens to what's happening. And so you get this upswing in noise, and then as they consume that food, it comes down. And what's happening is basically their teeth are clapping together for the shrimp. So it's kind of like that. So when it comes back down, it gets down to some percentage of what it went up, and then it'll throw another feeding. And so it'll go throw another feeding, and then it listens to the response. The response is going down. So now the software says, hey, your response is not going up as fast as it went, and it's taking longer to go down. We're going to feed less. So here, this is the length of time that the spinner spun to feed food. So now it drops down, right? And it goes, here the response started to get stronger, so it started spinning up and fed more. So what this is doing, now it'll do this, and this is all controlled. It's all software. You change your settings. You have control of this. But it's making the choices based on how high this goes and how long it takes to set down. But you can control how long it'll go, and there's operating things. But you run for about an hour. So it feeds for about an hour, then the system, quote unquote, shuts down. And what you're doing is you're letting the shrimp clean up any feed that's remaining. You get back down to a new base level, and then what it's going to do is it throws out just a little bit of feed, and then it sees there's a response. So if there's no response, it's not going to feed. Okay? So what this is doing is testing on a continuous basis and adjusting itself based on the food consumption of the shrimp. So this is real-time management. This is giving exactly what the shrimp want based on that noise response, okay? So it's a very interesting system. So we saw this in the industry, and so we brought it to my facility. I purchased it. This wasn't supported by AQ1. Actually, the soy guys supported a lot of this. But I brought it to the facility because we do a lot of feed management. I thought it was a very interesting process. So what I'm going to do is show you our last 3 years of production using this system. And so what we've tried to do is figure out why it works, demonstrate it, try and learn of what's going on. So we do semi-intensive production. We've got, these are research ponds. They're only 1/10 hectare. They're small ponds. But we do everything typical a commercial producer would do, or at least a commercial producer in our areas. We'll nurse for about 2 weeks. We'll stock out our shrimp. We go through a full production cycle, okay? So this is all, using typical management styles within our system. And so 2016 was the first year that we brought this in. So we basically are learning the system. And what we did is we basically ran our hand feeding, which is twice a day. We then brought in 6 timer feeders, so very simple feeder. You just feed 6 times a day, which my graduate students won't do for some reason. And then we have the automatic feeder, which we ran only 12 hours during the day, but we let it feed whenever it wanted to. Now, this was the first time we ever used them, so we did put some restrictions on things. And we looked at, growth, and this has all been published. We also looked at water quality. One of the interesting things is that when you move to these automated systems, your water quality has a tendency to smooth out, okay? We didn't see any major improvements in water quality, but you can see that there's a little bit kind of smoother, I guess it would be a description of what it is.